Hi everyone, Maryann here, revealing light, tarot, astrology, and spirituality. Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. So, today we're going to look at the shutdown in the US. We're going to see if it's going to drag on any longer than 3 weeks. My intuition is that it will. Also, the speech between Hegseth, Trump, and the generals. How did that go? Trump announced later on that they would be potentially putting boots on ground in Venezuela. He also announced, if you saw that speech, that he wanted the military to use US cities as training grounds. Okay, so how did the military react? I think their stony faces, their lack of emotion or applause, told a larger story. Also, want to say that going back to the Charlie Kirk assassination, I do want to see if Tyler Robertson will be acquitted, freed, or a mistrial recorded, because the evidence that is coming out is just, as I keep saying, is so overwhelming. There are multiple videos of an additional person on the roof. Tyler Robertson's parents, a spokesperson for that, well, a source close to the family, are saying that they didn't turn him in. He wasn't at the university on that day. He didn't write those texts. And so all is lining up with the readings that I've been doing. I still believe when I got the Hierophant, which is government institution, religion can be religious institutions as well. When I asked who did kill Charlie Kirk, I got the Hierophant in the outcome card. So I said a foreign government was involved. I think that foreign government is Israel. And did anyone in the Trump government or the depths of the CIA or anywhere like that have knowledge or know that Tyler Robertson wasn't the shooter? And I got a pretty big yes for that intuitively. So let's see if he will be acquitted. The evidence tells a story, and it's just not stacking up. Why? Who benefits here? Well, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, I know she's far right, but she's working hard on this, has ample evidence of Charlie Kirk trying to sever ties with Israel before he was shot. They're trying to shut her down now. I did say that there could be other violence, and I actually did see a woman with blonde hair, and I said Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to be very careful. She came out a week or so later and, said, if I'm not suicidal, if something happens to me, that it's because I've been speaking out. So I thought that was quite, yeah, alarming. Nobody likes to see violence, and nobody deserves to die for what they say, regardless of what side of the fence, political side they're on. I have taken it upon myself to really go in and have a look at what MAGA influencers are doing and what MAGA generally feel about Trump. And I can tell you right now, they feel betrayed. Tweet after tweet after tweet on the Hell site on Twitter, X. They're just, whether it's his deal with Pfizer or whether it's his relationship with Israel, um, and putting Israel first, or if it's taking the country into war, they feel betrayed by Trump. Now, that's all coming through in the opinion polls, and Trump's opinion is tanking. The way that Americans feel, his opinion on every single matter, particularly the economy, is in decline. So for those that are concerned about what's happening in America, I can just borrow from AOC's words yesterday. I think I was looking at her. They are not powerful. Trump and his government, they are weaker than what you think. So now is not the time to give up. And later on in this session, after I've done the cards for anyone that wants to stick around, I'll be doing some astrology and looking at the transit charts for today. Now, well, 2nd of October. And they're very illuminating. They tell a similar story in so many ways. They are reflective of what is going on now. A viewer did ask me, what are the planets doing? And I thought, well, it's time to look at the astrology. So, how do MAGA feel about Trump? And also, intuitively, I get the impression that Israel will do something stupid again and bomb Iran. We will see if that is occurring. Now, just as a recap, I predicted that the Supreme Court would not allow Trump to fire Lisa Cook. They've said no, he can't fire her for now. And this is in front of oral arguments in January. I still predict she will not be allowed to be fired. She's done nothing wrong. There's no cause to fire her. Now, why is this important? Because the Federal Reserve sets monetary policy. And under no circumstances, given what Trump has done to the economy now, should he get his grubby fingers on the Federal Reserve in the United States. Also, do want to see if they're deliberately trying to devalue the dollar. We might look at the dollar, US dollar, if we've got time. So yeah, Lisa Cook stays, so I'm glad, I'm relieved about that, and I still predict that he won't be allowed to fire her in January. Now, the flotilla, I want to say, I predicted that the boats would be drone strikes, they would be hit with drones. They were, and a number of them now have been arrested, including Greta Thunberg. They don't dare lay a hand on Greta Thunberg. So it's such a long, 60 miles long or something like that. And apparently they've arrested the first lot, but don't really have the naval capacity to arrest everybody. So it will be not interesting. It's alarming to see what will happen. Will any boat reach the shore? I don't think so. I think they're just going to turn them around. But so many governments, I think Colombia has expelled the Israelis for what they're doing to the flotilla. In Italy, they're rioting in the streets. Who would have thought? The On the flotilla, there are more Italians, I believe, than anybody else. And Italy is striking. They've taken over train stations in I think it's Naples, and they've moved now into demonstrations in Rome. So the Italians are very, very fired up. The warships that Spain and Italy sent turned around just before they got the flotilla got to a critical point, as they did not want to risk an international incident. Well, their governments are probably, particularly in Italy. I don't think Italy has recognized Palestine so as a two-state solution. So let's see how that goes. But certainly the Italians are making their voices heard on the streets of Italy right now. Question is, what will the prime minister do? France, in the meantime, has stopped a Russian oil ship. First time that's ever happened. So we'll see. We'll see. Things are going are sort of accelerating there as well. So all right, let's get started with the first question. I have my trusty card shuffler until I have my hand operation in February. It's now February, when my private health insurance kicks in. I will use the card shuffler just to refresh the decks. I'll still hand shuffle for anyone who's wondering. Yes, I've still got hands on cards, but I do the comprehensive shuffle rather than use my hands. I'll put that in the card shuffler. So thank you for your patience on this. It's just the way it is. I wanted the best hand surgeon, so I had to take out private insurance to get that. Okay. 2026 is going to be a breeze compared to 2025. All right. I hope everybody's well. when you're feeling down, understand this, that things are changing, that those on the other side of the aisle are increasingly, well, I won't say just as disenchanted, but disenchanted with what they got in the 24 election with Trump. All right, so let's go to the shutdown. I did think I did say there would be a shutdown, it wouldn't be averted. Now the question is, how long will it go? Okay, so how long will the US shut down? Show me the US shutdown. Can you give me, it's hard to predict timing with tarot, but I'm just going to ask, will the shutdown go for longer than 3 weeks? Can you show me clearly? Will the shutdown go for longer than 3 weeks? Will the shutdown go for longer than 3 weeks? I think in many ways, Trump does not. That fell out, the Eight of Wands. So headlines, things moving quickly. I think in many ways Trump doesn't really care. He's turned off from it in some way because I saw him with sunglasses on and yeah, apparently he's not been seen. God knows, yeah, what he's doing, but he's not out there publicly, at least today. All right, so he can't stay quiet for long, so I think that'll change. Will the shutdown go for longer than 3 weeks? Will the shutdown go for longer than 3 weeks? Now, most people in surveys that I've published on my site on Blue Sky, most people are blaming, the majority of people, not most, but the majority of people are blaming the Republicans for the shutdown. Will the shutdown go over 3 weeks? I keep getting that 10 of rods. It's sort of everything's coming to a point of where things are going to start to fail. The Four of Pentacles, yeah, the lack of supply, monetary supply. I think this will be if what will bring Trump to the table will be the economy and whatever happens, whatever the government functions are to do, which impact on the economy. I don't think he cares about how it impacts on individuals, but there's something around a function of the government and the economy that will bring him to the negotiation table. We have the devil at the foundation of the reading, and this is toxicity, toxicity situation. Really, the devil's been in most of my spreads since November 2024. And it's no surprise here. The situation is extremely toxic. One wonders how a deal could be reached. Now we have the offer here in the past, the Knight of Cups. So I do feel there may have been some sort of negotiation, or there may be some negotiations going on at the moment. They tell me they're talking on the Senate floor. Now the Empress card, a season of time, and again, that is abundance. So that's again around the economy, around perhaps that's the reason why the impasse is solved. So we have here the Chariot in the immediate future, things getting out of control. I think if you don't have to travel, if you don't have to do anything that involves government services, don't do it, because this can be a rough ride as well. Now, the Page of Wands in the present time. So this is a plan that's just at the beginning, and the atmosphere around is the Six of Pentacles. The Democrats wanting to protect people's health care is really in the present energy, which is really interesting because that argument is not falling on deaf ears. Hopes and fears we get coming together. Nobody wants the shutdown. Now the Ten of Cups, the families, my card for the voters. That's in the outcome card. I asked, would it last longer than 3 weeks? And I get the 3 week, Three of Pentacles here. So I feel it's going to go, if I can say this, longer rather than shorter. And then we get the Congress people coming together. I think Ultimately, it's going to be negotiations between the Congress, between the senators that will get this through, and magician and manifestation, and then an inevitability. So, I mean, they're all yes cards. My question was, will it last longer than 3 weeks? So, could be 3 weeks, th 3 weeks or over. Looks like they're going to reach a breakthrough at some point due to the negotiations between the actual Congress themselves rather than Trump and the Democrats. So we have a decision, crossroads here, something coming to fruition in time. We get a wish fulfillment and a victory. I think I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I think the Democrats win something in this, that they make a point and they get some kind of deal here. Now, I hope I'm right. Hope that's not wishful thinking. The cards were fairly positive, but someone's going to score a victory. Okay, and I'm going to say I'm going to lean toward the Democrats because I see the shutdown being solved eventually and I think it's weeks, not days. All right, let's leave that one there. Okay. How did the military react? This is going to be interesting. How did the military react to Trump? How did the military react to Trump and that idiot Hegseth speech? Oh my God. What a tool, as we say here in Australia. Maybe you say that in America and other places as well. I think you say that in the UK. Okay. Also on the UK, I just want to remind people that I've predicted, I think that Keir Starmer's in trouble, and that he will resign at some point in the future. So that watch this space on that one. And unfortunately, I my reading for King Charles, you can go back and have a look at that earlier in the week. His health problems are worse than what we think. Okay, so how did the military? All right, how did the military? Let's give this a shuffle. How did the military react? How did the military, what did the generals, what did the generals think of Hegseth and Trump's speech? All right, three of pentacles, bringing people together, working on building something, and then there's a crossroads. Okay, so it's up to each general to decide how and what they're doing, but it looks like they feel the heavy burdens. They can't disobey a command, but they feel the heavy burdens of having to make the decision to assist the government in their agendas. So we get the three of cups here coming together. I'm getting a lot on threes. There may be three key generals that will take Trump's agenda forward. We get the High Priestess in the past. How interesting. Something we can't see here, secrets being kept. Perhaps they've come together to decide what is their strategy to get through these volatile times. Anyone who's in the have service family who in the services must be extremely worried, but I feel the generals have a strategy. So boundaries, not overstepping boundaries. Now Trump can say go in to the city streets and clean them up, and it's war in Portland and Chicago and everywhere else. But the truth of the matter is the Constitution bars the military from doing that. And so they're mindful of their boundaries and not overstepping them. Families, people in the I think in the citizens of America are uppermost in their minds. We get victory in the present, and then partisanship. Partisanship in the environment around. So introducing politics into the military is what they thought they were doing. It's what they thought Hegseth and Trump were doing, and trying to divide troops. And so these men play a critical role in ensuring that the military isn't politicized. Now, the hopes and fears is the truth. The Ace of Swords, clarity. Okay, we hope the generals have good clarity on this. We fear if they don't. And we have the Hanged Man in the outcome, pausing and suspending. So there will be things in the military that they will stop doing, but the underlying strategy, such as DEI, whatever these protocols are that were there in the past that won't be there in the future, but the generals have a plan. Their objective, and they want stability through objectivity and the truth. They're carrying the burdens, though. Okay. So that was interesting. Let's see. In my one of my previous readings, I said Tyler Robinson didn't fire the fatal shot that killed Charlie Kirk, assassinated, murdered Charlie Kirk, the political figure, because he was a political figure. Also, want to say the Empress card that keeps coming up. I did a reading yesterday in another forum, and there's something around Charlie Kirk's wife. I don't want to make a lot of that, but the Empress card I was getting was not his mother, not Tyler Robinson's mother. It's his wife. It's Charlie Kirk's wife. Now, I don't know what it is there, but I'm just picking something up. Please be respectful, though. Everybody grieves in a different way. Okay. Will Tyler Robinson be acquitted? 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 Nine of Pentacles. Will Tyler Robinson be acquitted? He is just a patsy. I know that with 100% certainty. He did not fire that lethal shot. He is being set up. Will Tyler Robinson be acquitted? Okay, yes, the truth will emerge, and it'll be, as I said, thanks to MAGA, the MAGA people trying to bring the truth out, and Candace Owen is one of them. So the truth here, and then we get a deal here. Will he be acquitted? Two of Pentacles, making decisions, but also this can be manipulation, deciding which shooter, which shooter faces justice. Well, I don't feel he fired the shot there. So there's a manipulation here. Three of Pentacles is in the past. This again was a setup. And it looks like there are three groups involved here. Interesting. The Two of Swords is in the sky. That's usually a decision to be made, but I feel a decision has already been made in relation to this question. All right, there the Empress is again. Okay, so a season of time. She comes up every single reading. Will he be acquitted? Right now, of course, we would get the murky smoke screens, the illusion and delusions. That's in the present. And then we get the truth being emerging, the Queen of Cups. In hopes and fears, we get the Moon card, something underneath the surface, coming into the light of day. Now, the Judgment card is an inevitability. I couldn't have picked a better card for this young man who is innocent. It is inevitable that he will go free. All right. And then we get the truth, the prosecutor coming out. And then we get a young person, a bombshell. He might even be freed before he even gets to trial. It looks like he's going to be acquitted in some way. Now, underneath, of course, we have exactly what they wanted, this kind of radical left lunatic crap that they spew. It's so obvious. And the victory that they got from the Assassination, and there is Trump. There is Trump. Now he will be disappointed. We get planning, and then we get the four of wands, and wealthy donors coming into this as well. The plan was always to blame the radical left. Why else would they set someone like Tyler Robertson up from a good MAGA family who is, gay, and yeah, framing him in this way. So it looks like it's inevitable that he will be acquitted. Okay. The evidence just is not there to convict this person. All right. Well, anyone? Okay. Why did the FBI, was the FBI told to fabricate those texts, fabricate evidence? Was the FBI told to fabricate the evidence? Just quickly. The star card and something coming to fruition in time. I actually was wondering if the truth would come out. I think it will. These are all yes cards. It was a wish come true for them. There were, as I said, three involved here, three groups of people involved. A deal being done with someone to obscure the truth, but will the truth emerge? So we have here the Knight of Cups, and then the environment around his retreat, trying to silence critics. Could be a deal with Tyler Robinson being done. There she is again. My God, in the hopes and fears, the Empress card, and then the King of Pentacles. Were the FBI told to fabricate the evidence? And Trump comes out. A bombshell and disappointment. One. Now, if you one cup remaining, if you remember, there we go. Yes. If you remember, the Epstein stuff was cranking up, the economy was going south, and then this turning point arose. Now, these cards are for entertainment purposes only, but there you have it. Okay, looks like Tyler will go free eventually. All right, let's look at how MAGA feels about Trump. Let's just get a few cards. How does MAGA? And then we'll get on to the astrology because I don't want to leave that too late. For anyone that wants to stay for it, you can timestamp this and either stay or go. Okay, so how do we MAGA? Gosh, the hell site was blowing up this morning. They're calling Trump a Trojan horse for the globalists. Okay. All right. All right. Doing the deal with Pfizer really got a lot of anti-vaxxers offside. They're saying now they're going to experiment on, Trump's going to allow them to experiment on them and kill them. So, the economy, grocery prices, the wars that are being started, they're not happy. MAGA's not happy. How do MAGA feel about Trump now? The truth coming out, and the death card, the end of something. So what this is the trust is no longer there. The trust is no longer there. Isolated, feeling isolated, let down, betrayed. God, the death card for a major arcana to come out. That's in the past. The Israel's paying MAGA influencers, some of them $7,000 per post to spruik about Israel. But that's not going to work. That's not going to work. The rot's already set in. So we have here a plan, a movement going forward, and the dollar. Sorry, the Ace of Pentacles, grocery prices, all of that. The economy, it could even be the dollar. Um, Walking away, they're walking away now and pausing, looking at things in a different way. Democrats get their messaging right, they'll cut through. The Ten of Wands, and of course, everyone will have an example of a MAGA who's blind still, but I can give you a lot of examples of MAGA who aren't. Okay, the Ten of Wands and then the Tower. My God, it's worse than what I thought. The Tower card. Split asunder. The Tower. Despair. And the Wheel of Fortune. Change. Moving on from the illusion. Goodness gracious me. That about sums it up, with the Death card being one of the signifier cards. How does MAGA feel about Trump now? All right. Let's see if I can do this. Will Israel bomb Iran? Will Israel bomb Iran? Will Israel bomb Iran? Will Israel bomb Iran? I think they will. I'm seeing something dropping from the sky, perhaps into a rural area rather than a city area. Um, will MAGA bomb Iran? Sorry, not MAGA. Will Israel? Will Israel bomb Iran? Will Israel bomb Iran? Oh, well, okay. They have been planning this for some time. Again, a second strike. It will catch people by surprise, but I don't think so. And there's the Sun card. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, they will. And here we go. They've been planning it for some time. Um, okay, so yeah, I think they are going to do that. Now, I'm not. I hope everybody's safe and that no innocents are hurt, but I'm not too concerned about it at this time. I don't know why I'm not concerned, but I'm not. I'm more concerned about Europe and Russia. Okay. Looks like the peace deal in Gaza is falling apart, but I will talk about that in my next reading because I want to get onto the charts for anyone that wants to stay. Okay, let's get this chart up. Where are you? There, I think. There, I think you are. Okay, let's get rid of that. All right. Let's make this a bit bigger. Okay, here we are. So this is the transits for the 2nd of October 2025. I've set it over Washington, D.C., in the US, and of course it's Libra. At the moment, we're in Libra season. What is Libra but balance, justice? It's about the we rather than the I. And of course, that in this chart is in the ninth house. The sun is in Libra in the ninth house. The ninth house is law, higher knowledge, um, uh, the kind of ideals, universal justice, universal laws. Can also be media and publishing as well in the ninth house, and Mercury is here also. Now, that Mercury, it's very important, Mercury, because Mercury is all about communications. So we have here a T-square. Now, a T-square is the red triangle in the center of the chart. T-square is about challenges, the dynamics of things being extremely volatile. But they push towards a solution. So astrologically, as I think there will be a solution eventually to the shutdown. Now, if we look at Pluto here, in Aquarius in the first house. There's intercepted houses here, but I won't talk about that. Let's go to Pluto. I want to look at this T square. Pluto in Aquarius is the collective, and things. Um, Pluto being what's below us, the underground, things emerging from the darkness, Hades and the gates of hell. Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is the collective, it's the groups, it's the what is good for the collective. Well, Pluto being in Aquarius takes us to a position where we have to find our power. We have through things emerging from below, perhaps that we had ignored or we were complacent about, things coming to the surface. Now, there's an opposition here with Jupiter in the seventh house in Cancer. Cancer's all about our feelings, our home, our feelings of security. But in the seventh house, this is partnerships and can be open enemies. And so a lot of people are feeling threatened in the collective right now. Doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on. We've all got feelings. Sometimes those feelings intersect and we become partners. Sometimes they don't and we become enemies. Now, the other part of a T-square is the not just the oppositions between two planets, but the square here up to Mercury in the ninth house in Libra. This is very much about the facts. That's about the truth and coming together to acknowledge the truth through great conflict and challenge, but arriving at a point. What is the challenge here? To arrive at a point that everybody can acknowledge as being the truth as they see it. Now, whether that's the facts of the economy, the economic downturn, I'd wager it is. Whether that is that Trump is not good for the US nor the world, whether that is MAGA feeling betrayed and let down, there is something happening here through conflict and hardship and challenge that brings us to a common kind of agreement here in some way. Now, September, I said things would shift in the collective. I said that this would most likely be economic based, the economic downturn bringing people more and more together. And if you look at the series of charts that I posted on Blue Sky, you will see that the majority is agreeing that they don't want this kind of government, and they certainly don't want the high grocery prices, the tariffs, etc. Now, what is worrying is the tariffs on pharmaceuticals. I'll tackle that a little bit later on. In October, the Supreme Court is meeting to decide whether Trump is levying these tariffs illegally. Okay, so we have this great challenge here, this recognition that things aren't going so smoothly, which is an understatement, and people agreeing in the collective, this is not how we want to go forward. Now, so things under the surface coming together here. The enemies will still be there, but there are more and more partnerships being forged between people who may have been enemies in the past. If I look at predictions around attacks on the US, this could well be an attack on communication systems in some way. Enemies of the US sabotaging, attacking some sort of electronic communication, could be internet, could be whatever systems are online. There could be this possibility as well. I want to go to Pluto squaring Mars in Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio is it's a good placement. It's exalted in a way because Mars, while ruling Aries, is comfortable. I think in Scorpio. Now we will this is in the 10th house. So the 10th house is public, the government. Scorpios talks a lot about endings. It's in very intense sign, and of course Mars is extremely can be aggressive. I think there are actions going to be taken at this time against the collective to end things. This would then figure with Trump's threats to end programs that benefit Democrats. But this is a conflict. It's not a fait accompli, and so this will be met with great resistance. Many have asked if states will start withholding tax tax dollars that they send to the feds. Absolutely. I did a reading in might have been December, January, all that time ago. I guess it's not recent. And I thought that this would be one of the outcomes here, that the states, if they're not getting the federal services, will start to withhold tax dollars. Now that's a constitutional crisis of magnitude. Remembering that we just assume that Trump will be able to do these things, and in many cases he's stopped from doing them. So Pluto in Aquarius. So we're looking at endings, transformations at this time, the intensity of the energy, driving forward toward ending something, and transforming something. And Pluto in Aquarius, meaning the collective. The collective is undergoing massive threat, but also massive change. If I come here to again, just want to go back here to Jupiter squaring Mercury. So feelings versus facts. And the more that you can remind people of the facts when they're riled up, or not riled up, but when they're open to dialogue and open to engagement, the better off this will be. We cannot bury our heads in the sand and just walk away from this. We have to keep engaged. Okay, because that's we can turn an enemy into a reluctant partner, if you want to put it that way. One more thing in this chart, the North Node is in Pisces, and it is opposite Venus in Virgo. Now, the North Node is all about destiny in a way. It's the future. It's the job that we've got to do. It's what we've got to accomplish in this lifetime. Very much about the future, about the now, and about the future. The South Node, of course, is the past, and recognizing past patterns and changing them. So we have this opportunity. Venus in Virgo. So Virgo is all about the details, the hard work. I do believe this is in the second house here. This is about the economy. And so the facts about the economy are very difficult for Trump to hide. The economy is tanking. Now, if I go over here, the second house is all about money, possessions, the economy, finances. Saturn in Pisces. Now, Pisces can be murkiness. It can be very positive. It's about things coming into form, but it can also be about illusion, delusion, and murkiness. It doesn't have any boundaries. But Saturn is here, bringing the boundaries and the reality. Wake up! The reality is that the economy is not doing so well. How do we know? It's in the detail. How do people know? It's when they pull out their wallet and go to pay for something. So despite all the illusion and delusion perpetrated by Trump, people know the truth. Now, Saturn in this house is out of bounds. And so when a planet is out of bounds, I think it's 27 degrees, then it's supercharged. So this is a huge wake up call for all those in America in relation to the economy. Uranus here, just quickly down to the trines, the blue, the harmonious flows of energy. Uranus, the planet of surprise, quickness. Uh, I always think of Uranus like the Tower card. Uranus in the fifth house of self-expression is trining Pluto in Aquarius, and I do feel that the collective, again, that the collective is coming together in some sort of agreement. Now, that's probably shocking for you to say, for you to hear, but it'll happen incrementally, and it is happening incrementally because the polls are telling us that, the surveys are telling us that. One last thing, the moon is trining the sun. I feel the moon, I feel in Aquarius, the collective, trining the sun, I am, and in Libra. So again, this is a time of great hardship, great challenge, great conflict, but it is, I'm going to say without, while still having my reality hat on, it is a time of change. Now, when things are so rough and so bad, you don't go lower. You can only come up from that. And I do believe that the collective is starting to realize this. So that's the reading for today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.